गिरिधारी श्री श्री राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रक्षत रक्षत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रक्षत रक्षत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuddha Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuddha Shrimad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishtam Vishnupara Shuddha Shrimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Srila Gaurksharas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura Ki Jai. Nityal Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Anuvarya Guru Varga Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath. Shri Jeev Gopal Bhattadash Raghunath. Shar Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shigor Parshad Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Kshetra Mandala Gora Mandala Braja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda Yamuna Ganga Tulsi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री षठ तिला एकादशी तिथि की जय। एकादशी तिथि पालन करी भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। सारार्थ-दार्शिनी वृत्ति की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hari Bol everybody. Rup Manjari Didi, Nitai, Dandavat Pranam, Gargaraj ji, Dandavat Pranam, Indira Mataji, Babatarani Mataji, Happy Akadashi, Madhavi Didi, Dandavat Pranam, and Raseshwari Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. Let me know if my internet connection gets choppy because like other times, it wasn't, remember when it wasn't connecting before, even though I had fast internet connection? Well, the same thing happened today. Hey, I'm not using this mic, am I? Pretty well. Anyways, yeah, the same thing is happening today. So then I connected to the Frankfurt region on Restream. But last time I did that, it was cracking for you guys. So yeah, just let me know. I'll keep on checking back. Hi. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Śrīmad Bhakti Vedanta Narayanitti Namine. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya Krishna prema pradayate Krishnaya Krishna chaitanya namne gauratvishe namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Itadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tar Bhaktaya Namo Namaha. Yang Pravrajantam Apeta Krityang Dvaipayano Virahakatara Arjuhava Putreti Tanmayataya Taravo Bhinedus Tang Sarva Bhuta Hridayang Munimanatosmi Narayanam namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye Shrinvatang swakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana Hridantasto yabhadrani vidhunoti suhritsatam Nashta prayeshvabhadreshu nityang bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina Iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamam charanantikam Bhaktya vihina aparadha lakshai Kshiptashtakama madhe Kripa tvam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charanaravindam Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. And Pradyumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji, Dandavat Pranams, and Ganga Mataji, Dandavat Pranams. All right, so as I mentioned before, I'll keep on checking back to see if the connection is choppy. And then, yeah, let me just see. I mentioned to them. With one hand right now. Guys, I'm really slow at typing with one hand. Okay, done. All right, so let's go to Bhagavat Pravaha for the summary of the previous chapter. Once a messenger came and informed Krishna that Jarasandha had captured 20,000 kings who were surrendered devotees of Krishna. Just then, Narad Muni came and informed Krishna that King Yudhishthira was seeking Krishna's permission and presence for performing the Rajasuya sacrifice. Omniscient Krishna asked Uddhav to determine which of the two matters should be attended to first. Knowing the heart of Krishna, Uddhav advised Krishna to go to King Yudhishthira, whose Rajasuya sacrifice would fulfill both the purposes eventually. Lord Krishna went to Indraprastha with his queens. To perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, Yudhishthira had sent his brothers to conquer various directions, who then brought back abundant wealth after defeating many kings, except Jarasandha. They weren't able to defeat Jarasandha. Thereafter, as per Lord Krishna's plan, Bhima, Arjuna, and Krishna disguised themselves as Brahmins and went to the palace of Jarasandha, who was very devoted to the Brahminical class. They flattered him and requested him to grant their desire. Although Jarasandha detected them as warriors, still he agreed. Then Krishna discarded his disguise and asked Jarasandha to fight him in a one-to-one combat. But Jarasandha refused, saying that Krishna was a coward who had once fled the battlefield. And he considered Arjuna inferior in age and size, but he considered Bhima a worthy opponent. Thus, Jarasandha and Bhima began to fight. As both of them were equally strong, neither could gain victory. Krishna then indicated to Bhima how to kill Jarasandha by splitting a small tree branch in half. Bhima then stepped on one of Jarasandha's legs and caught the other with his arms and tore him apart into two pieces. After Jarasandha's death, Krishna appointed his son as the ruler of Magadha and released the 20,800 kings he had imprisoned. The kings offered their heartfelt prayers and begged for perpetual remembrance of his lotus feet. So that's what we're reading about today. I'll just finish this paragraph. The Lord then granted their desire and assured that they would attain him at the end of their lives. Krishna then sent them to their respective kingdoms after offering gifts. Krishna, Bhima, and Arjuna then departed for Indraprastha. All right, so we're reading that today. It's still working though, huh? The connection. That's good. All right. What was the last verse that we ended off with? Immeasurable Supreme Personality of Godhead, the sustainer and benefactor of all living beings, coronated Jarasandha's son, Sahadev, as the new ruler of the Magadhas. The Lord then freed all the kings Jarasandha had imprisoned. Chapter 73. Lord Krishna blesses the liberated kings. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ayute Dveshatanyashto Niruddha Yudhi Nirjita Te Nirgata Girodronya Malina Malavasasa Kshama Shushkavadana Samroda Parikarshita Dadrishuste Ghanashamam Pitakoshe Avasasam Shrivatsankam Chaturbahum Parmagarbhanurekshanam Charu Prasanna Vadanam Spuran Makarakundalam Parmahastam Gadashanka Ratangarupalakshitam Kirita Harakata Kataka Kartisutrangadanchitam Brajadvara Manigrivam Nivitam Vanamalaya Vibanta Iva Chakshurbyam Lihanta Iva Jivaya Jigranta Iva Nasabhyam Rambhantam Iva Babubhi Prane Murhatapapmano Murdhabhi Padayor Hare. Shukadev Goswami said, Jarasandha had defeated 20,800 kings in combat and thrown them into prison. As these kings emerged from the Giridroni fortress, they appeared dirty, shabbily dressed. They were emaciated by hunger. Their faces were dried up, and they were greatly weakened by their long imprisonment. The kings then beheld the Lord before them. His complexion was dark blue like the color of a cloud, and he wore a yellow silk garment. He was distinguished by the Srivatsa mark on his chest, his four mighty arms, the pinkish hue of his eyes, which resembled the whorl of a lotus, his lovely, cheerful face, his gleaming makara earrings, and the lotus, club, conch shell, and disc in his hands. A helmet, a jeweled necklace, a golden belt, a golden bracelet, and armlets decorated his form. And on his neck, he wore both the brilliant, precious Kaustuba gem and a garland of forest flowers. The kings seemed to drink his beauty with their eyes, lick him with their tongues, relish his fragrance with their nostrils, and embrace him with their arms. Their past sins now eradicated, the kings all bowed down to Lord Hari, placing their heads at his feet. Sārārtha-darśinī commentary by Śrīla Viśvanātha Cakravartī Ṭhākura. In this chapter, Krishna frees the kings imprisoned by Jarasandha. The kings were emaciated by thirst and aggrieved due to their long imprisonment. Upon leaving the prison, the kings saw Krishna, who mercifully revealed to them his effulgent personal form, resplendent with the color of a fresh rain cloud. Krishna's neck was adorned with a fragrant flower garland, and his famous Kaustuba gem, which glowed brilliantly as the best of jewels. Seeing Krishna's incomparable beauty, the kings seemed to be embracing the Lord with their arms. Feeling most satisfied, the kings praised the Lord. Krishna then blessed them with objects of enjoyment befitting kings and sent them off to their respective kingdoms. Sri Krishna then returned to Indraprastha. Sorry. Krishna Sandarshana Ahlada Dvasta Sangrodhana Klama Prasha Sangsur Rishikesham Girbhi Pranjalayo Nripa. The ecstasy of beholding Lord Krishna having dispelled the weariness of their imprisonment, the kings stood with joined palms and offered words of praise to that supreme master of the senses. Rajana Uchuhu Namaste Devadevesha Prapanarti Haravyaya Prapannam Pahina Krishna Nirvinnam Ghora Sangsrite. The king said, "Obeisances to you, O Lord of the ruling demigods, O destroyer of your surrendered devotees' distress. Since we have surrendered to you, O inexhaustible Krishna, please save us from this terrible material life which has made us so despondent." Commentary. Deva Devesha indicates a supreme position as the Lord. The phrase Prapanarti Hara, remover of the distress of the surrendered, indicates Krishna's affection for his devotees. Avyaya, inexhaustible, expresses Krishna's unchanging transcendental nature. Nainam natanusuyamo magadham madhusudana anugraho yadbhavato ram raja chutir vibho. O Master Madhusudan, we do not blame this king of Magadha, since it is actually by your mercy that kings fall from their royal position, O Almighty Lord. Commentary. The king said, "We do not find fault with Jarasandha for usurping our kingdoms, because by this we have obtained your mercy." Rajaishwarya Madonnadho Nasheyo Vindate Nripa Tvanmaya Mohitotya Manyate Sampado Chala. Infatuated with his opulence and ruling power, a king loses all self-restraint and cannot obtain his true welfare. Thus, bewildered by your illusory energy, he imagines his temporary assets to be permanent. Commentary. In 3 verses, the kings prove how losing a kingdom is due to the mercy of Krishna. With unrestrained pride in his wealth and power, the king thinks his temporary wealth to be permanent. Rajaishwarya Madonnadho Nashreyo Vindate Nripa Tvanmaya Mohito Nitya Manyate Sampado Chala. Infatuated with his opulence and ruling power, a king loses all self-restraint and cannot obtain his true welfare. Thus, bewildered by your illusory energy, he imagines his temporary assets to be permanent. Commentary. The king said, Furthermore, the wealth of kingdom and other things are not real wealth. Unintelligent persons see the illusory enjoyments arising from the transformations of the senses, such as sound, form, and touch. They see all these illusory enjoyments as real. Just as a fool sees a mirage as water, although it is actually light. Foolish king, sorry, foolish king, God, sorry. Foolish kings see the distress arising from the objects of enjoyment as happiness, just as a fool sees a mirage as water. Vayang pura Śrīmad. No, wait, one second. Okay. Vayang pura Śrīmad. Vayang pura Śrīmadanashta Drishtavyo. Jigishayas. Jigishayasya itaretara sprida. Granta prajasva atinirgrina prabho. Mrityum purastva viganaya durmada. Ta eva krishnadya gabhirahranghasa durante viryena vichalita shriya kalena tanva bhavato nukampaya vinashtadarpascharano smaramahete. Previously, blinded by the intoxication of riches, we wanted to conquer this earth, and thus we fought one another to achieve victory, mercilessly harassing our own subjects. We arrogantly disregarded you, O Lord, who stood before us as death. But now, O Krishna, that powerful form of yours called time, moving mysteriously and irresistibly, has deprived us of our opulences. Now that you have mercifully destroyed our pride, we simply beg to remember your lotus feet. Commentary. The king said, "We ourselves exemplify this. Wanting to conquer the earth, we competed with each other, not seeing you standing before us as death. Previously, we were intoxicated with pride, and today we have lost our power by the influence of time, which is none other than you. Please give us your mercy so that we will always remember your lotus feet. We realize that losing our kingdoms was all due to your mercy." And Indira Mataji mentioned that that verse 10 was repeated twice. So let's just see what it says in database.io. Here. We are in chapter, what, 73, is it? I think so. Oops, one second. Uh-oh. Is it still running? Yeah, it is. Okay, sorry. Okay, so chapter 73. Okay. And I haven't read the real text 11. Okay, so I will read text 11, and God, it's so annoying why this keeps on happening. Okay. So text 11, they said, text 10 and 11, I'm going to read. Lord Krishna would offer obeisances to the cows, Brahmins. Oops, I'm reading the wrong chapter. Oh God, sorry guys. Thanks, Indira Mataji. Infatuated with his opulence and ruling power, a king loses all self-restraint and cannot obtain his true welfare. Bewildered by your illusory energy, he imagines his temporary assets to be permanent. Just as men of childish intelligence consider a mirage in the desert to be a pond of water, so those who are irrational look upon the illusory transformations of Maya as substantial. Okay, and then we just read this. Previously blinded by the intoxication of riches, we wanted to conquer this earth, and thus we fought one another to achieve victory, mercilessly harassing our own subjects. We arrogantly disregarded you, O Lord, who stood before us as death. But now, O Krishna, that powerful form of yours called time, moving mysteriously and irresistibly, has deprived us of our opulences. Now that you have mercifully destroyed our pride, we simply beg to remember your lotus feet. Okay, now. Ato nara rajam mrigatnirupitam tehena shashvat patatārujam bhuva upasitavyam sprihaya mahe vibho kriya phalam pretya chakarnarochanam. Never again will we hanker for a mirage-like kingdom, a kingdom that must be slavishly served by this mortal body, which is simply a source of disease and suffering, and which is declining at every moment. Nor, O Almighty Lord, will we hanker to enjoy the heavenly fruits of pious work in the next life, since the promise of such rewards is simply an enticement for the ears. Commentary. The king said, henceforth, we no longer desire a beautiful kingdom which is desired by men under the spell of illusion. The accusative case is a poetic license. These kingdoms have to be served by the body, which itself can be destroyed at any moment, and which is the home of disease. Such kingdoms only give sorrow. Moreover, one who has acquired a kingdom is obliged to perform Ashwamedha yagyas and other costly sacrifices. Neither do we desire to attain Svargaloka, which only sounds pleasurable to the ears. Because of the continuous competition in heaven, like here on earth, there is no happiness there either. Just looking at, oh yeah, he turns his surrendered devotees into paupers and wandering, handless folk. Such that's from the Chora Graganya Purushashtakam, right? Hari bol Surevi Didi. Okay. Tamna samadhishopayam yena te charanabjayo smritiryatha naviramer api sangsaratam iha. Please tell us how we may constantly remember your lotus feet, though we continue in the cycle of birth and death in this world. Commentary. Krishna replies, then here, just take the boon of Sayujya Mukti. No, no, they reply in this verse. Please teach us the exact method that we can understand and execute. Sorry. Please teach us the exact method that we can understand and execute, by which we will never forget your lotus feet. We have no desire to end the sangsar, nor do we desire that which is most sought after, namely prem bhakti. It is due to the rise of in them that they do not desire this. Nor do we even desire remembrance of you, which is one limb of bhakti, smaranam. We don't desire smaranam. We only desire the means for such remembrance. The kings do not use the term, please give it to us, dehi, but rather they say samadhisha, please instruct us, which shows clearly the highest degree of qualities like humility, sense control, and freedom from material desire, which are necessary qualifications for bhakti. Interesting. Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Paramatmane Pranatakleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha. Oh, that's a famous verse. I think that's in the Mangalacharan, in the Gaudiya Giti Gucha. There's an extra Mangalacharan. I think is. I don't know. I know that, like, yeah, we've said this one a lot. Or maybe it's in Archantipika. Again and again, we offer our obeisances unto that Lord Krishna, Hari, the son of Vasudeva. That supreme soul, Govinda, vanquishes the suffering of all who surrender to him. Commentary. The kings laid down with all 8 limbs touching the ground to offer respect to Krishna. They then engaged in Krishna Nam Sankirtan, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Haraye Govindaya, while requesting the Lord to mercifully teach them, even though they were unqualified. The king sang, we offer our repeats unto Vasudeva Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, who appeared from Vasudeva, out of compassion for all living entities. To Hari, who delivers even the demons from the suffering of the material world. To the Para, who appears as a supersoul for the devotees in Shantaras, and as the source of supreme prem for the devotees in Dasyaras. To the destroyer of miseries, Klesha Nashaya, which create obstacles to bhakti for the sadhak bhaktas, the pranata, the surrendered devotees. And to Govinda, who reaches out to our senses, such as the eyes, ears, and nose, in order to give the nectar of his beauty, fragrance, and sweet sounding voice. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Hare Krishna Gopikant Prabhu. Shri Shuka Uvacha. Sangstuya Mano Bhagavan Rajabir Mukta Bandhanai Tanaha Karunastata Sharanya Shlakshnaya Gira. Just letting you know, the reason I keep on checking the comments is to see if it's been, the connection's been getting choppy because I'm on this other region. Shukadev Goswami said, "Thus the kings, now freed from bondage, glorified the Supreme Lord. Then, my dear Parikshit, that merciful bestower of shelter spoke to them in a gentle voice. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Adya Prabhupa Mayatmanya Kileshvare Sudrida Jayate Bhaktir Badam Ashangsitam Tata." The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "From now on, my dear kings, you will have firm devotion to me, the Supreme Self and the Lord of all that be. I assure you this will come to pass, just as you desire." Commentary. By addressing the kings as Bhupa, O rulers and nourishers of the earth, Krishna implies, "Since you revealed your true nature as my devotees in your statement Tang na samadhishopayam in verse 15, therefore you will nourish the entire earth by spreading upon it the nectar of the practice of bhakti. I promise that just as you desired I promise that just as you desired, your devotion will become very fixed. I will instruct, and you will understand, practice, and then attain firm remembrance of me. Prem Bhakti will gradually appear from such uninterrupted remembrance. At the present time, you will attain steadiness in practice and quickly attain the goal. From today on, you will experience ever fresh spiritual realizations. Dishtya vyavasitam bhupa bhavantarita bhashina Shri Madonnaham Pasha Unmadakam Nrinam. Fortunately, you have come to conclusion, my dear kings, and what you have spoken is true. I can see that human beings' lack of self-restraint, which arises from their intoxication with opulence and power, simply leads to madness. Commentary. Shri Krishna said, "You are very fortunate to have the resolve that devotional service alone should be performed. Most worldly kings are mad after sense enjoyment and bound by Maya. From wealth comes the concept of power, Aishwarya. From Aishwarya comes intoxication, Mada. And from intoxication comes bondage, Unnaham. The word Pashya, see, is a form of Pashyami." God, this mic is so heavy. Sorry, my arms are getting tired just holding it. Hai hayo nahusho veno ravano narako pare Śrīmadad Brangshita Stanar Deva Daitya Nareshvara. Haihaya, Nahusha, Vena, Ravana, Naraka, and many other rulers of demigods, men and demons, fell from their elevated positions because of infatuation with material opulence. Commentary. Krishna said, many kings have fallen from their positions due to the intoxication of wealth. Bhavantya etarvigyaya dehadutpadyamantavat mam yajanto dvarar yukta prajadharmena rakshata. Understanding that this material body and everything connected with it have a beginning and an end. Worship me by Vedic sacrifices, and with clear intelligence, protect your subjects in accordance with the principles of religion. Commentary. Shri Krishna said, you should observe the customs of ordinary society in accordance with my order. Santanvanta prajatantun sukang dukang bhavabhavo praptam praptam cha sevanto machitta vicharishyata. As you live your lives, begetting generations of progeny and encountering happiness and distress, birth and death, always keep your minds fixed on me. Commentary. Shri Krishna said, you should spend your time producing sons, tolerating happiness and distress, and encountering birth and death. Praptam, encountered, is not in the dual form because of the abundance of terms, so only one form remains according in the rule. Ekashesha. Udasinascha dehadav atma rama drita vrata maya vishya manasamyang mam ante brahmayasyata. Be detached from the body and everything connected to it. Remain self-satisfied. Steadfastly keep your vows while concentrating your minds fully on me. In this way, you will ultimately attain me, the supreme absolute truth. Shri Shuka Uvacha Ityadishya Nripamno Bhagavan Bhuvaneshwara Tesham Nyayunkta Purushan Striyo Majjanakarmani. Shukadev Goswami said, having thus instructed the kings, Lord Krishna, the supreme master of all the worlds, engaged male and female servants in bathing and grooming them. Commentary. Krishna engaged men and women in rubbing oil on the king's bodies, bathing them, and other services. Oops. Saparyam karayamasa sahadeve bharata naradevo chitar vastrar bhushanai sragvilepanai. O descendant of Bharata, the Lord then had King Sahadev honor them with offerings of clothing, jewelry, garlands, and sandalwood paste, all suitable for royalty. Bhojayitva varanena susnatan samalankritan bhogaischa vividar yuktangs tambuladyar nripochitai. After they had been properly bathed and adorned, Lord Krishna saw to it that they dined on excellent food. He also presented them with various items befitting the pleasure of kings, such as betel nut. Te pujita mukundena jano mrishtakundala virejur mochita kleshat pravridante yatagraha. Honored by Lord Mukunda and freed from tribulation, the kings shone splendidly, their earrings gleaming, just as the moon and other celestial bodies shine brilliantly in the sky at the end of the rainy season. Commentary. Now that they were relieved of their distress, the kings appeared resplendent like the moon and other planets after the rainy season. Ratan sad ashvanaropya mani kanchana bhushitan Prinaya sunritar swadeshan pratyayapayat. Then the Lord arranged for the kings to be seated on chariots, drawn by fine horses and adorned with jewels and gold. And pleasing them with gracious words, he sent them off to their own kingdoms. Te evam mochita krichrat, Krishnena sumahatmana, yayustam eva dhyayanta, kritani cha jagatpate. Thus liberated from all difficulty by Krishna, the greatest of personalities, Krishna, the kings departed, and as they went, they thought only of him, the Lord of the universe, and of his wonderful deeds. Jagadu prakriti bhyaste mahapurusha cheshtitam yatan vashasar bhagavangs tatha chakrur atandrita. The kings told their ministers and other associates what the personality of Godhead had done, and then they diligently carried out the orders he had imparted to them. Jarasandam ghatayitva bhimasenena keshava parthabhyam sangyuta prayat sahadevena pujita. Having arranged for Bhimasen to kill Jarasandha, Lord Keshav accepted worship from King Sahadev and then departed with the two sons of Pritha. Gatvate Kandava Prastang Kantad Morjitaraya Harshayanta Sasuhrido Durhridam Chasukavaha. When they arrived at Indraprastha, the victorious heroes blew their conch shells, bringing joy to their well-wishing friends and sorrow to their enemies. Tachrutva pritamanasa Indraprastha nivasina menire magadam shantam raja chapta manoratha. The residents of Indraprastha were very pleased to hear that sound, for they understood that now the king of Magadha had been put to rest. King Yudhishthir felt that his desires were now fulfilled, because now he'll be able to do the Rajasuya sacrifice. You need to conquer kings to be able to perform it. Abhivandyata rajanam Bhimarjuna Janardana Sarvam Ashravayang Chakrur Atmana Yaranushtitam. Hare Krishna Shasharmaji and Krishna Karshini. Hare Krishna. All right. Bhima, I already read the Sanskrit, right? Ambivandyata rajanam Bhimarjuna Janardana Sarva Ashravayam Chakrur Atmana Yaranushtitam. Yeah. Bhima, Arjuna, and Janardhan offered their respects to the king and informed him fully about what they had done. Nishamya Dharmarajastat Keshavenanukampitam Anandashru Kalamunchan Premna no Vachakinchana. Upon hearing their account of the favor Lord Keshav had mercifully shown him, King Dharmaraj, that's Yudhishthir, King Dharmaraj shed tears of ecstasy. He felt such love that he could not say anything. Commentary. Stunned in bliss, Yudhishthir could not speak. Thus ends the commentary on the 73rd chapter of the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. All right, it's 8:18 now. I'm not going to continue the next chapter because it's 4,000 words and enough for a full reading day. And tomorrow is Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj's appearance day. So I'm not going to read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam tomorrow. I'm just going to read about Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj. So we'll read this the day after tomorrow. What should I read now to fill up the time? Oh, I know. I feel I just late last night I sent a post on Vine of Devotion, and it's full of lots of nice quotes by Acharyas. I wasn't actually too happy with this post. Like I wasn't feeling fully satisfied, but um, I left it for the last minute, and I had no choice. I just had to write something, and so. But the quotes are really nice, so I'm just going to read it for the quotes mainly. But yeah, if you haven't done so already, and if you'd like to, um, go to vineofdevotion.com and you can subscribe to my mailing list. I send out something every the day before Akadashi. Um, yeah, and every now and then I'll send out a special Rays of the Harmonist article that I also read nicely. Not like I do the readings here, but I actually like do it proper. Like I practice each line and all that. So you just click up here. It will say subscribe up here. You just click that and then you can easily subscribe. All right, so I wrote noting Srila Gurudev's instructions. Should I just skip what I wrote? I'll just read it. Anyways, I feel a little weird reading my own writing. In a few days, it will be my Gurudev's Vyas Puja. On Guru Purnima, or Vyas Puja day, he would explain what it means to truly perform Guru Puja. So in today's Akadashi Eve posting, I will share some quotes on this topic so that my mind will hopefully start contemplating it, and I'll be better prepared to observe this most important day. Yeah, it's a problem. I always leave this posting for the last minute, and I write it in the nighttime, and I don't have time to like really. I don't have time. I just have to write anything and send it out. So that's why it's a little bit rough. Real Guru Puja. Gorar ami, muke bolile nahi chale. Gorar achar, gorar vichar, loele fala fale. Simply saying, I am Gors, Gorar Ami. Just saying that will not do. Nahi chale. Only when one adopts Gor's conducts, Gor's achar, Gorar achar, and Gor's conceptions, Gorar vichar, only then will the fale, will the fruit fructify. The fruit of prem fructify. The fruit of, I don't know. Yeah. On Srila Gurudev's appearance or disappearance days, one may try to exhibit some devotion for him. I want to give a heart-touching glorification, sing a beautiful kirtan, and serve the devotees. Somewhere in me, there might be a semblance of sincerity in my attempts to glorify and hear glorifications of him. But in all honesty, being recognized as a good Guru Sevak is in the back of my mind. I can't help it. The desire flows in my veins. It's unavoidable. The desire for pratishta is so subtle that it's often impossible for me to even detect it in myself. The only person who can locate and fully remove this cancer of pratishta in me is Sri Gurudev. Therefore, on Vyas Puja day, my Gurudev would mention that we should not only engage in the festivity and related services, but we must take some time out to seriously contemplate how much we have endeavored to understand Sri Gurudev's Manopishta, Sri Gurudev's cherished desire, and have endeavored to fulfill it. Otherwise, the day after the festival, it'll be back to life as usual, with no significant change having taken place in our heart, and we will not have actually performed Guru Puja. Below are some relevant quotes from my Gurudev and Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. So this is what I really wanted to get to. So most of these are from Rays of the Harmonist articles. Let me just check everything's. Okay, Indira Mataji, no problem. Haribo. And Haribo Bhavatarani Mataji. Hare Krishna. Okay, so here's some quotes. Although our Gurudev has also entered his unmanifest eternal pastimes, we happily remain in this world. On the occasion of special days like his appearance or disappearance day, we might remember him. But often, we are involved in arranging the festival in his honor, and there is very little chance to contemplate our separation from him. A tear may come to our eye as we speak something about him, but it may not come. If the festival is very elaborate, there is much to manage, such as Abhishek, Guru Puja, and distribution of Mahaprasad to the Vaishnavas. Consequently, there is less chance of us finding time to think about him and weep. For the most part, we arrange these festivals for the benefit of the general people who have no intimate connection with him. But on that day, we should ensure that a feeling of separation from him enters our own hearts. This is called bhajan. That was for my Gurudev. All these quotes I'm reading right now are from my Gurudev right now. It is essential that we understand the true Sagri Vyas Puja. Merely placing a garland on the neck of Sri Guru or offering at his feet a few flowers and fruits, some money, sweets, or cloth, does not mean that real worship of the Guru has been performed. The real Vyas Puja is to surrender oneself completely at the lotus feet of Srila Gurudev and to fulfill his desires. This means that one should completely offer one's independence at the lotus feet of Sri Guru in the mood of surrender. O Srila Gurudev, I am offering everything that belongs to me at your lotus feet. If a person can selflessly surrender in this way, it does not matter whether or not he worships his Gurudev with flowers and so forth, for such worship is just a symbolic act meant to instruct the common people. Real Guru Puja cannot be performed until the mood of selfless surrender at the lotus feet of Sri Guru appears in one's heart. It's also from my Guru. We are all in one Gaudiya family. Our Gurudev is serving Shri Shri Radha Krishna of Raghunath Das Goswami. Money and other material things will not suffice as a presentation for Vyas Puja. The only worthwhile present is absorption in Krishna bhajan. This is real Puspanjali. Gurudev spoke that on in Mathura on 22 February 2000 on the appearance day of my Param Gurudev. A couple quotes by Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. Let me just check. Right. If the disciple displays laziness in or indifference to following the direct or indirect instructions of Srila Gurudev, and only displays the pain of separation merely with his lips when he delivers a lecture, sings a bhajan, or writes an essay, then such expression will never truly bring pleasure to Sri Gurudev. Sri Gurudev is pleased when his most cherished desires are fulfilled. The glories and the specialities of his precepts and behavior cannot be completely described in just one essay or in even hundreds of essays and thousands of poetic verses. The more we describe him, the more his glory sounds like a new narration. The more we reflect upon him and his transcendental qualities, the more we experience an ever-fresh astonishment. Realization of the absence of such a great personality leads to a pain of heart that is so burning that it is likened to the sting of hundreds of scorpions. That is Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, and it appeared in Raise of the Harmonist. Okay. In accordance with the principles stated in Raghuvangsha, Agya Gurunam Hyavacharaniya, the order of the spiritual master must be obeyed without consideration, quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 10.145. So according with that principle, that the order of spiritual master must be obeyed without consideration, the most distinguished way for a disciple to express his or her love for Sri Guru is to take a vow to endeavor to fulfill Sri Gurudev's most cherished desire by mind, body, and words. That's from the book Volcanic Energy by Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj. It's in the appendix, the very end part. It's what Srila Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj wrote on the disappearance of Srila Bhakti Madhav Goswami Maharaj in 1979. So there are countless quotes from Shastra and our Guru Varga about the necessity of surrendering our lives to fulfilling the Manobhishta of Sri Gurudev. Each one of our Guru Varga showed the ultimate example of how to do this. Taking note of Srila Gurudev's instructions. As you may have noticed, every one of these Akadashi Eve postings, I think of some little baby. I think of some little baby step I can try to take or follow till the next Akadashi. What I would like to do this time is, so I do something every Akadashi. I make some little practice that, and I try to do it for 14 days. And it doesn't matter if I fail one day because I know that I'll keep on doing it until, and on Akadashi I can stop. So that's been really helpful for me, this thing. So what I'd like to do this time is take notes every time I come across an instruction from our Guru Varga. Although just taking notes of the instruction isn't enough, it's better than letting them go in one ear and out the other. Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj said, "Despite our lackings, we are to patiently keep trying. We have to continue following the instructions of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. This is of utmost importance. We repeatedly hear about the same subjects, but our hearts and minds cannot retain what we have heard. And even if we do retain it, mere mental retention of information is of no real value. It is necessary to practice what we hear and live by it. Only then does what we hear take on any real significance. But despite hearing, and more hearing, we all too soon tend to forget what we have heard." That was in that article, what is it? Self-Assessment on the Disappearance Day of Guru Padma, which I also posted on Vine of Devotion if you want to see it. So this is my practice. This is what I'm going to start this Akadashi. So I'm making a temporary WhatsApp group where I'll try to capture at least one or two instructions in my daily reading. If you're interested to try this out with me, I invite you all to also share whatever instructions you come across with the group. So if you click on this link, then you can join. You just, sorry. Let me go to the end. I'm hoping that by making a point of at least paying attention when our Guru Varga is mercifully instructing us, maybe if I just make a point of at least paying attention, maybe I'm not following it, but at least I'm paying attention. If I can at least do that, then maybe I'll start trying to follow the instructions one day. Gotta start somewhere. So yeah, if you'd like to join that WhatsApp group, please, just go to vineofdevotion.com and scroll to the bottom of the yesterday's article. All right. That's all for today. Haribol. Thanks, Shri Mataji. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandhar Vikagiri Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai, Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata Rashata Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata Rashata Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Nitya Lila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashata Rashata Shishimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Shatara Shatashmar Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai, Nitya Pravishtam Vishnupad Shatara Shatashmar Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai, Nitya Pravishta Maha Bhagavat Srila Gaurkishore Babaji Maharaj ki Jai, Nitya Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Ṭhākura ki Jai, Nitya Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj ki Jai, Shri Rupa Nugauriya Guru Varga ki Jai, Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jeev Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunath Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki Jai, Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai, नामाचार्य श्रील हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद, श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदात गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। सारार्थ-darśinī वृत्ति की जय। श्री षठिला एकादशी तिथि की जय। तिथि पालन करी भक्त वृंद की जय। अनंत कोटि हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम वृंदाय तुलसी देवाय प्रियाय केशवश च कृष्ण भक्ति प्रदेवी सत्यवताय नमो नमः। वंशा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Dandavat pranams, everybody. Oh, and Nri Hari Prabhu, Hare Krishna, and Rupmanjari Didi, Viseshwari Mataji, everybody who's there. Jai Shri Radhe. See you all tomorrow to read about Srila Trivikram Goswami Maharaj on his auspicious appearance day. Hari Bol, everybody. Right, Jai Shri Radhe. Oh, one more thing. On my Vine of Devotion website, if anybody sends me any written offering about Gurudev, then I will post it on Vyas Puja Day, on my Gurudev's Vyas Puja Day on the 21st. So yeah, if you'd like to write something, you still have a couple days to do it. All right, Hari Bol. And if nobody sends anything, that's totally fine. I'm just not going to make a post on that day. But if anybody does want me to post on that Vine of Devotion page, then please send me.